to keep it right here as front and center?
It certainly underscores two facts. One, that Nancy Pelosi has to defend these two members of Congress and Congresswoman Cortez from here in New York than any three members within her caucus. And that really she's not controlling the message of the Democratic House. Those three are controlling the message of the Democratic House. They have numbers that rival hers amongst Democrats as far as name ID and favorables, unfavorables, that they have so much influence within the Democratic caucus that in many ways Nancy Pelosi is speaker only. Yeah. Secondly, on this particular issue, what it really says about Democrats is they're only for ideas if they're not Trump's. And if they're President Trump's ideas, they're bad ideas. Your voting record says where you stand on issues. And if you voted for policies that support Israel, then you're pro-Israel. And if you're voting for policies that hurt Israel, you're anti-Israel.
Can I just
it's as
jump
simple
in here,
as that.
just simply because you mentioned Democrats a number of times. And I would say, first off, I'm frustrated that because frankly, we talk a lot about media bias on this show, and I think that there is a strong media bias of making this squad and their views and painting those views onto the rest of the Democratic Party, of which we do not share and we do not hold.
It's not a media bias when these guys jump in front of the cameras and throw. I think as a Democrat, it must be very frustrating to you that they demand the spotlight over and over again but totally get in the way of your message.
The bottom line is they do not represent the rest of us, and we need to do a better job. The rest of the Democrats.
Would you like to ask them to pipe down then? Because they're hogging up all of the oxygen. Why aren't Democrats saying, could you please
we need to do a few
turn
things.
it down for a second?
They need to tone it down because we do have a race to run in 2020.
Yeah.
But we also need to be more vociferous about denouncing certain aspects. Now, back to your issue about the voting record. The BDS situation is not supported by most Democrats. And I would say that most Democrats have a voting record that does support Israel. So, I think that you are right that we are losing the message.
Why don't you put forward a motion to condemn them on the floor? And why wouldn't you name Omar as an anti-Semite when she's so clearly is?
And if I were in Congress, I would have done so. And when that issue came out, I actually wrote a piece for FoxNews.com condemning my Democratic colleagues that do serve in the House.
So why do you think the rest of the House didn't do it then? I mean, I think that's his question is sort of, on the Republican side, you're supposed to stand up and call them out and say, and then on the Democrat side.
Is important. I think that part of it is because they are hogging the spotlight. I think that there is this fear that if you cross them, you're gonna end up with some ire amongst some crazy progressive base.
Good worse our use of the word ire, by the way. But I think you're absolutely right, and they are demanding the spotlight. They do not represent the Democratic Party, but people are afraid to go against them because of how much popularity they're getting and how much media attention they're getting.
Also they come right at you and say you're a racist.